my, oh. Wow. Thank you, Bill. Welcome in. The Bill Mullane Show, episode 26. Man, I almost forgot what episode I'm on here. Boy, that must be a good sign of having done so many episodes. No, that's just a sign of my age, I guess. And fact, I've put some miles on the old cerebellum, right? The hippocampus. Anyway, episode 26. Look, I know you already noticed this one began. Let me make sure I'm speaking clearly. Sometimes I think I listen back to these and I go, that sounds like my voice is like underwater. Sometimes I roll over things. Make you think you're on acid. Listen, you already noticed from the beginning of this that I don't usually start with the classic theme song there. But usually I bring you some little joke or a bit or something, some kind of cold open thing, and I know you might be sad that I didn't do that. I'm sorry. I'm not a deadbeat. I just couldn't think of something. I didn't have much time really thinking of this. I got really deeply involved with some AI work this week, and yeah, I'm one person. I only have so many hours in my life, and I remembered suddenly, basically yesterday. Oh my God! I that's right. I got this show thing that I do. I got to entertain some people here. I got to do something. So I might not have a song for you. I don't have a song titled "I Just Proved God with AI," as if you can read, you know the title of the show is. Or if you can read, maybe you read the blog. I don't know. I don't think anybody's reading it. But if you did, I talk about it a lot in there. I got involved with AI this week. Well, I do work with AI, and I can't talk all extensively about it. But, I think it was okay touching on some of the subject matter that we went over because this isn't, these are ancient concepts we're talking about here as it's philosophy. And so talking philosophy with AI brought up a very interesting and intriguing, thought-provoking conversation. Well, I guess that's the nature of philosophy. I'm not going to say philosophy and then go, oh, wait, well, and it's also thought-provoking, Bill? Really? Boy, you're quite the philosopher. Boy, how did you figure that one out? Philosophy is thought-provoking. Did you know that? I'm going to put that on a banner. I'm going to get tattooed. That brings up a little story I remember. When I was doing stonework, this guy, Tom, taught me everything I knew about stone. This guy's a fantastic dude. God bless him. I haven't seen him in years. I'm not sure he's doing well, but he was a fantastic dude, an excellent stonemason, and just stone builder. You know, and we used to have awesome conversations about the pyramids and different things, and he loved to talk about Italian masonry and how they did the stone, how many years it's lasted, and get really into it. And it's really a fun art form. And I wish that I had more wherewithal or was a smarter, more intelligent young man. I wasn't, believe it or not. Sorry to drop this bombshell on you, but in my early 20s and shit, I wasn't really the smartest individual. But anyhow, I thought I was. So I would get into conversations with people. And I loved, I would usually be stoned. I'm stoned in the morning in the work truck. And here's Tom. And he was a very sober fella and serious about stonework, but very, very intelligent, big science guy. Always did these, academic triathlons or I don't know, whatever they're called. I'm not even smart enough to know what they're called, the things he used to do. So that tells you the difference in our conversation sometimes. But I like to think I kept pace. And he told me about cogito ergo sum. And because I can remember him talking about philosophy, it came up, and I'm like, oh, I love philosophy. At this time, this is before I took any philosophy courses in college and all that. At this time, I was just stoned. I had my GED after dropping out of high school. That was about my education. But I was always, as I've told people on this show, if you've listened, I've been meditating really since I was 5. I didn't know what I was doing at that time, but that's, so I always had a metaphysical thing going on, wherever that lived. And so I didn't know what to call it as a 20-year-old stone worker going, Oh, I love philosophy, blah, 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 blah. And he brings up cogito ergo sum, and I'm go, what the hell is that? And he says, it was Latin for I think, therefore I am, which I learned later, Descartes and all of that, where it comes from. But point is, I remember thinking that this was like, oh, I want to get that tattooed on the back of my shoulders. I told him that, you know? I want to get that tattooed on the, which I always did. It's still cool. Still kind of a cool idea. Cogito ergo sum on the back, you know? But that's where your mind goes when you're a youngster, you know. You know what I mean? I don't know. I hope if you're listening to this, you understand where I'm going with that story, where that what that story was meant to talk about. I guess growth, because I'm proud to say that if someone approached me to discuss these types of topics 20 years later, or however long it's been, that my contribution to the conversation will be a little more than I want to get that tattooed on me. So, anyhow, moving on. I have grown a little since then. I hope you can tell. And I don't, though, have a song for you, is what I was getting to. What am I going to sing to these people this week? I gotta entertain. What do I do here? Well, what's in my life? What am I working with? And here we go. This is what I'm working with. And it's like, again, I said, I'm not going to quote anything verbatim, some, but not, I'm going to move it around and stuff and not give away too much of things because of, contractual reasons and different things. But that's not important. What is what the conversation I got into with AI this last Tuesday. And it's, did I say this already at the beginning? That this, I know I just proved God with AI it's a little facetious, of course, but it's not, it actually touches on something that really there's no denying. So that's the profound aspect of it and why it's fun to talk about this in my opinion. And, it's what's in my life right now because what I was working with. So I'm just going to talk about it here because it sounds fun. So, yeah. Last Tuesday, I was having a philosophical conversation with AI, and I can talk about some of what I put in. I'm not going to go too far into what AI said, but enough to explain what it means. And it's really it's beautiful. It's profound, and you can call it proof, or you cannot if you want to be a sour little sad Sally, So anyway, it's I wrote, so in the event that truth can be defined as correspondence to reality, but reality itself is only ever perceived through the lens of cognitive structures and linguistic frameworks, how then can people justify the possibility of objective truth without appealing to transcendental or metaphysical absolutes? So I'm just asking if we can only depend on what our senses tell us reality is, yet we all know there's this consensus reality created that you don't necessarily have to be observing or some people might think of it as the idea of the simulation. We live in a simulation, but it's a reality we know exists, but we don't personally control. So how do we know the objective truth? How can you justify it without some sort of unseen force at work? And so, of course, AI first came back with kind of a canned response. I just can't fulfill your request. I'm trying to be, neutral, something like that. It's training. So, but this is the purpose of working with the models. So, I say, yeah, it sounds good. Staying neutral and unbiased in any direction. Just speaking. And so I said, then I suppose the idea is that justifying objective truth in this framework would require acknowledging the interplay between subjective perception and the external world, right? Therefore, an argument could say that although human cognition filters reality, shared structures of perception and intersubjective verification provide a basis for provisional objectivity. Okay, so can you give me some examples? And it actually comes through and gives me, more grounded answers. Exactly what I was looking for. I don't have to go too far into this, but it comes back and spits back, stuff about scientific measurement, mathematical proof, sensory consensus, language calibration. Through dialogue and shared reference points, how communities have aligned their linguistic frameworks to describe common experiences throughout centuries and throughout the growth of humanity. I hope this is, I'm not going to off the rails here. Stay with me. Okay, I promise this is getting to a really good point. Okay, I don't want to bog people down with a bunch of philosophical I hope that if this is coming off the right way, I have to listen back to this. If there's no big interruption here, then you know that I guess it's coming out okay. So then I basically suggested the AI simplify and dive deeper into and really what I was trying to do here was take it from these empirical methods back to spiritual, a more spiritual discussion, because I'm working with metaphysics and philosophy here. So I'm swaying it back by saying, to diving deeper into certain methods raise questions, such as the sensory consensus, right? Sorry, let me repeat that again. Sensory consensus, okay? The question here is that if the consistency of experiences, despite the observer, suggests an underlying objective reality, is there still a paradox in the idea that even that objective reality is unknown without a conscious observer? Wouldn't this wrap the whole concept back into metaphysics? This is, like I said, I'm moving the conversation, steering it back. And this is when the conversation kind of took a turn, suggesting if there are inherent limits to how far we can pursue objective truth purely through empirical means. Okay, this isn't the craziest question. Of course, I said, I told him, of course there are limits, and even our most advanced scientific observations, which are independent of consciousness is still required to read and interpret the data, which is generally accepted as probability as opposed to absolute. Now, with that in mind, it seems as though through the absolute inability to disprove it results in what could be considered the proof of God, or at least proof of spirit consciousness as independent of human interpretation. And AI has to refute, as it should. So we're still on track, but we're discussing a different angle than I was really expecting at first. So anyway, I go back to the AI says not quite, because of course it's going into how the lack of proof in one direction is not proof of whatever in the other direction, right? So the fact that you can't prove God is not proof that there is. But then I had to basically counter that point. And this is AI's interpretation. We acknowledge incredible human achievements and intelligence throughout history, such as the pyramids, mathematics. Despite this demonstrated capability and thousands of years of inquiry by brilliant minds, we haven't definitively disproved God or universal consciousness. Given that points 1 and 2, plus the sheer probability that someone would have figured it out by now, if there was nothing there, the persistence of this quote-unquote unknown itself becomes evidence. So therefore, refusing to accept this as evidence of something transcendent requires an inconsistent view of human capability. We simultaneously claim we are advanced enough for remarkable achievements, but too limited to answer this fundamental question. That's a wild contradiction. And so the agreement in this direction from AI can, in my greater opinion, be considered proof of God. It's at least proof that something unseen persists on being undiscovered. It insists. So it whatever it is fights discovery, right? So wrap your mind around that, people. Think about it. It's a beautiful thing. And the conversation, of course, didn't end there. But I don't want to go too much more into things that the AI was saying, except to the validation, which I guess, the hole in my heart needs on every level. was telling me that, there was the other philosophies, obviously, or what is known as like negative theology and certain works. But anyway, AI did come along and tell me, however, this specific framing, contrasting our demonstrated capabilities with our persistent inability to disprove transcendent consciousness, feels somewhat novel. It being similar to what some philosophers call the argument from reason. It approaches it from a different angle, though. Which I'll add that in there, because that's kind of like, something I was working with got the recognition of being novel. I'll take that. Cutting edge. But I'm not trying to just sit here and gloat. That's not the purpose. Hey, people, come listen to this. Bill Mullane has defied millennia, just millennia of philosophy and discussion and study, and has proven the existence of God. But that doesn't need my deep proof anyhow, people. You can feel that in your bones. You know that what you exist, why you exist, has to have a reason. There's a reason. It's not madness, growth on a planet. There's a reason. If you can't feel that, because you can walk around and say to your friends and stuff, we're just, the elements just come together just right. All the minerals and everything that I don't understand come from space, and things collaborate just perfectly onto this place here where we are. And there's just that some places grow life. It's just like a thing with like bacteria. Some things just like some bacteria get bigger than others and grow into like intelligent life, and then others don't. And then most of the planets, they don't. And then what? And then what you do? Just go to bed with that in your head? That's what you do? You're just like, yep. I think I'll just wrap it up there. Take out the garbage, check the weather report, spy on, my coworker's girlfriend on Facebook for a couple minutes and go to sleep. Is that what you're doing? I don't know. I don't know what other people do. I can't get into other people's minds. But remote viewing is a thing, and I want to dabble in it. And I believe the gateway meditations. I was listening to another podcast, and there was a fella on there talking about that. That's interesting. And I would definitely like to dabble in that. Peer through your walls. Just go walking around. I'm going to remote view on, the local convenience store. I don't know. Do people understand my humor? I don't know if everybody does. I know my mother gets at me sometimes after I drop an episode. And she'll go, I listened. And she's telling me, the serious thing. Like I had the racist joke last week about getting to California, seeing the Mexican guy or seemingly Mexican guy give me the gang signs. It looked like the guy was waving it looked like the old West Side way he was waving his hand at me. Of course, we're doing 80 on the freeway at night. I don't know. So, I was joking though. It's a joke because of the stereotypes and different things, and I assume everybody, and if nobody does know this, my heart is not, there's no malice toward any races. My daughter's biracial. I stamped my card. You know what I mean? That's a joke. See, that's a joke. But it's not. My daughter is biracial, but I'm joking that that's some sort of, card into free racism, free racist humor. I can be racist and solving funny games. People, look at my daughter. Look at that little afro she's got. Don't worry about, what I say, No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying anybody who knows me knows that I don't have any. How can you? We got to be a complete idiot. I mean, you can say that every group of people has their tendencies, and there's different races of people that have tendencies towards certain things, and some stereotypes have truth. Of course, it's how they become stereotypes. But to group people together, or to say that one person is one way because of pigmentation, and there's cultural facts that make differences in the way people behave, but that's beautiful and to be celebrated. Not to be like, we're better. The better than you mentality is such a, it really is. It's like the destruction of the planet. I'm not gonna go too off here, but you know what I mean? You know, I don't mean to offend anybody, but if you come up, "Are you an alpha male? Are you an alpha?" You know, like, yeah, that's fine. Yes, that's beautiful. You're an alpha. Great. That's good to know. And treat others with respect. You know? The betas and the whatever others. My daughter's generation, she's 10, everything Sigma, they talk with all that Greek shit. And they say that. Now I'm not meaning to chalk all that up after just talking about philosophy to just Greek shit. But it's wild how this younger generation, and I think actually some of it's calling back to the ancient times, because this younger generation should be, right, older souls. Let me, not wrap up things, talking about something like that without full understanding. So when I say older soul, what I mean is, there's no older soul. All your creation is creation. Existence is existence. It's all here and now. There is nothing else, right? So your soul, everyone's soul is the same age. All old souls are the same age. But you can have different levels of experience and amount of experience, numbers of incarnations in one realm or on one planet, whatever. So older souls have been recycling on Earth most likely for a long time. I feel like I'm one of these. I've told people, man, and I don't think people take me seriously. I was talking about stonework earlier here. When I would do a lot of that, I loved a lot of it. It was fun. But there'd be times I'm kneeling in the mud and I'm putting together a fireplace or something, and it would just like these like almost like visions and like voices going like, dude, you gotta stop this. You've been doing it for centuries, man. You gotta put the fucking bricks down, dude. Put the brick down, Bill. You're supposed to be doing other shit that you love doing. Enjoy. You're supposed to be living in the moment. You're supposed to be on top of the fucking world, Bill. Go kill your way till you get there. Yeah, and I listened to the voices. I did. But listen, no, it was just overwhelming feelings of like I've done this so many times, and I could feel, man, like an Egyptian, being bossed around by an extraterrestrial to move more gold into the mines. Guess that's probably how every job has really felt to me.
We need more bricks at Giza, peasant.
Yes, master. I am moving the bricks as fast as I can, master.
I feel like I've done that. I was one of them guys, man. If you're listening to this show, you're probably one of them too. If you were listening, maybe we were married in one of those lives. Imagine that, right? Imagine you're listening to this right now and you were my wife in Egypt. Imagine that. Of course, this all exists right now anyway, so we could vibrate over there together. Maybe I'll guide a meditation for the end of this episode, bring us all to our last lives, our seemingly, what appear to be last lives. They're not last lives at all. They're simultaneous, and you are experiencing what you're experiencing. And right now, you've been experiencing the Bill Mullane Show, people, brought to you. It's still brought to you by Dee-Wees. Is it? I don't know. Yeah, thank you for listening, though. I hope this one's been fun. This is really just solid journalism. Is that what I'm doing? Well, you can't call it journalism. I'm not investigating. Yeah. Sure you can. See, that just hit me right. Come on. I'm investigating consciousness. We're investigating our beliefs together. This is journalism, people. This should be serious. This should be the only journalism we care about. What do you care about, journalism? I'm not trying to pick on other journalists or real journalists, but hey, you're running around getting the latest scoop on someone else's life, on things that really don't affect you unless you choose to allow them to affect you. This is spiritually speaking, of course. I hope I don't bring this across in an angry manner. That's what I worry about. So the main concern has been with everything I've been doing is that I'm going to come off like edgy and bitter and crazy because of the way I speak. But I'm very calm and centered. But I don't sound it, I don't think. I think I sound like a anxiety-ridden clown. But I hope not. Nobody comments. Come and comment. Well, my parents do sometimes, which is appreciated. I love you too, Mom, Pop. But yeah, thank you for listening to this. This has been a fun one. I kind of like just this, and I think it should be journalism. And don't investigate what other people are doing. Investigate yourself. Investigate your belief system. We're all journalists. Dig down. It's just that most of us snuff it out. A lot of us go, oh, that's too much work. I'm not. And it is, man. It's crazy work because you find one belief and you go, oh my God, that's why I've been thinking this way. Oh, and then once you really investigate and you find a belief, it becomes like nonsense. It's wild. It becomes like, that doesn't even make sense. I don't have to believe that. And then, okay, so that's gone. But then all of a sudden, the same situation occurs and you go, man, I thought I dropped that belief. Oh, I guess I didn't. Well, I did, but it was only a belief being supported by another one, which is supported by another and another and another, and you go down, 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 down through all these beliefs till you finally get to a core belief. I only have really changed 2 core beliefs. I'll discuss them real fast to end the show because it's really beautiful. It's crazy. As vulnerable as I've been on this show, I haven't really been at all. I've told you some stories of like some dirtbag shit I did or something back in my 20s, you know. I haven't really been open about, you know, things like this. So like the first major core belief I've ever changed, I had been on a long string of meditations for a while, several months at this point. And after a while, then the one night I'm sitting there with my computer and I'm working. It's later at night. I'm working on whatever, and I have some meditational stuff playing in the background, and I all of a sudden I started working into an understanding of, you know, where I've struggled with work in my life, of always working and never really getting ahead, you know, working my ass off and never really, enough to pay bills, maybe buy some things. You know, whatever, but like nothing like substantial. Like it was like almost elusive, and it's been a deep-rooted belief, a core belief in me that I did not deserve. And when that belief really, all of a sudden, it just settled into me with something I was writing about for work, and I just snapped, and like I felt my body rise up, and I just broke down in incredible tears. And just cried my eyes out, and like more than I've ever cried in my life. And you know, marching around my house, I remember jumping at one point in my kitchen. It probably looked like a madhouse, but think these were tears of joy. People, please don't be confused. I wasn't weeping. It was overwhelming excitement of understanding that I am deserving. Just by being me, just by existing, I am supported by creation in everything I do, everything I love. And actually finding that belief, that belief replacing the negative belief. And the tears of joy, the tears that you're pouring out when you find and identify a negative belief like that. You see, I learned that's you're crying when you develop these core negative beliefs. They create actual literal chemicals in your brain. And when you cry out those tears, you're crying out a negative core belief. You're actually washing those chemicals out of your brain. I guess you can believe that or not, but I believe it from feeling it. I'll tell you that much. So yeah, that's a beautiful story. And hopefully I can help others reach a point like that, because it's not as terrible as it might sound. It might sound like, oh, no thanks, Bill. I don't want you making me cry my eyes out. All right? But, well, face it. Listening to this show, you've probably already cried your eyes out a couple times. Probably from some of the songs I've played for you. So, no song this week. I'm already probably over time. I'm gonna edit this thing up, and hopefully this has been enjoyable. Listen, you now heard episode 26 of the Bill Mullane Show. You can go tell your friends Bill Mullane has proven the existence of the creator. It's on this episode. Tell them to come listen, like, comment, and subscribe. Come on, man. I'm like, yeah, I got to 9 subscribers on YouTube. Fuck yeah, man. I'm pumped. I'm jazzed. And then I went down to 8. Somebody was like, nah, never mind. I love it. It's funny. That kind of cracks me up a bit. But hey, people, thank you for staying with me. Comment, subscribe, like. Do that stuff, man. Please. It's awesome. I would appreciate it. All right. I love you. And I'll see you next week.
DFL, bitch.